I get asked a lot what exactly it is that I do, and all I can really say is I'm an electrician with the company. So I'm going to record a part of what we do, and that's hooking up a three-phase, I think it's a 25-ton unit. Not 100% sure, I'm an electrician, so all I need to know is how many phases and how many amps and where my power supply is. All that I already know. So first things first, power comes from this pitch pocket that I've already removed the cover from. Got my wire plenty long enough to go to this disconnect. Once we get to the disconnect, which I'll show you all about, we're going to go through that hole right there. It's the other side of it. And come up through here. Make up to our terminal block right there. Phase 1, 2, 3. Which they got these, you know, these are just not really of any importance. What you want to look at is this here. That L1, L2, and L3. That's your first, second, and third phase. So first phase is red in this situation. So this will be our brown, orange, and yellow from our high voltage. So the next part here I'm going to do is I'm going to take this seal type, it's 1.25 inch, this wire, and I'm going to size it to run here with a strut strap and come up into this hole here, so we can bypass and come in with our line side, A, B, and C phase. So our load will come out here, A, B, and C phase, through this hole, 1.25 inch as well. Go that way. So let me size my wire real quick and then I'll pick up. Okay, so this is my seal type. I've already put a connector on one end, and I'll show you in the next little snippet here in a minute how to insert one of those. But the way that I cut it, and there's many ways, but this one works, is take a knife, pause right here. If I can quit messing with it, we'll be in good shape. So we're going to score it all the way around. I had to pause the video to put my gloves on. I just got back from break a minute ago. So once you score it, there'll be a crack in the seal type. We'll break it. Now there's a hole. There's going to be a little piece of metal right here and a string that connects them still. Take some dikes. Stick them down in here. Give them a little snip. Should pull right out. Take the piece you're going to use later. Throw it out of the way. So you're left with this little contraption here. It's no good. So you want to go around to where it goes back in perfectly. Snip it right there. That piece will fall off. String will go off. Cut off that little tip. Otherwise you'll cut yourself on it later. This is an 1.25 inch seal type connector. This part right here is what goes into whatever you're connecting to, and this will lock it in place. So what I'm about to show you is already done. This is for later. Just wanted to show you kind of what's going on. The other half of it goes on to your seal type. It's 3 pieces that go to make it seal type. Seal type for a reason. So I'll show you that now. Turn this on. So down here in the bottom of my disconnect, I have it already pre-assembled. So we'll remove the lower half. Make sure you get all the pieces. There's 3 of them. Like I said, that piece is locked on already. It's hard to do with one hand, by the way. So, first thing you're going to do, you're going to take your tension ring, threaded, the one that's threaded, slide it on first. You know, that's an important step. And you can tell this has got a smaller end and a thicker end. The thicker end goes on first. And they're a pain. sometimes to get on. The whole point of these is to make a watertight connection. So once you get it on, you want it to be flush with the top. And what happens is when this, let me tighten this in. This locks it all in, by the way. Nice and tight. When this goes into the connector and threads, this little rubber piece right here will get sucked in and cause it to tighten down and make it watertight. So I'm gonna go ahead and insert my wire. We're gonna take our wire here, all together. I'm going to fish it into my cell type, and then I'll pick up after this. Okay, so we got one end secured tightly to our LB coming out of our pitch pocket. It's going to run across. It'll get strapped here with a strut strap later. And now I'm going to take this wire, feed it through, and start connecting power. Here we go. Wire in. Now keep in mind, this is aluminum feeding this disconnect. So this is my line side. As long as you refer it to line, then finding out where it goes becomes relatively easy. It's written right here in the disconnect. Line side is on top. So what happens, for those of you that don't know what a disconnect does, it literally disconnects power. So when you throw this down, these fingers remove themselves and break the circuit. So power is no longer feeding the load, which is the bottom half of these blocks, which would in return be this unit. So people can work in here safely by killing the power here. Most of y'all know what that is, but for those that don't, that's what it is. So because this is aluminum to aluminum, we will have to use Nolox, and it tells you right here it's an antioxidant joint compound, and what it does is aluminum, as it gets hot and cold, will swell and shrink a little. So to be sure we keep a great connection, we add Nolox, which is a conductive liquid that coats the tip of these wires, and we'll show you how that works in just a minute. Let me go ahead and get the ground. So that's the green one, and it will go into our ground lug, which we have mounted here. And yes, it does tell you exactly where to put it. It's pretty easy, folks. Okay, so I went ahead and stripped the ground. I leave a little bit of a loop on the load side just in case it needs to move later. It has a little bit of room in here. And what you do is you dry fit first. So you want it to preferably stick out on the other side just a little bit, so you can quickly and easily tell that when this is all the way tight that you have a good connection. If it's hidden, then you're questioning yourself on whether or not it's actually seated well, and also it could potentially push this out as you tighten and lose connection. So my video got cut off. Somebody called my phone, and I didn't know that it would end the video, but it did, so no big deal. So we dry fit first. Like I already said that, just you don't want your wire to get pushed out when you're tightening the screw. So you want it to be just enough, like this. And then take your flathead, if you don't put it in crazy places, and you'll tighten this after you put your Nolox on it. So let me show you how that works. So what I do, this one, because it's busted up and this ground is small to fit, I'll just stick it in and give her a good little bath in it. Stick it right back. And tighten it. Now I'm gonna put my phone down for this because I need to hold the wire to make sure it seats properly. Okay, ground is in, set. Like I said, I like to leave a little bit of extra on it. Next, what we're gonna do is we're gonna dry fit our A, B, and C phase wires, our brown, orange, and yellow. Typically, I start from the far right and work backwards. So first phase is brown, second phase is orange. So that's first phase, second phase. Third phase is yellow. So boy, brown, orange, yellow. So yellow would be the first wire that I start with. I like to make sure that they're all coming out of the connector properly to where when I run them, they'll be not so crossed up. And I'll bend this around and size it. So let me get that size, then I'll show you what it looks like. So this is third phase, or C phase, dry fitted. So it's loose still. I gotta put no locks on it, but what I'll do is I'll keep it in and I'll dry fit all of my wires up here first, and then I'll take them out one by one with the no locks and tighten them up. So let me get the rest phased. Okay, there we go. I've got all three phases, A, B, and C, 1, 2, and 3, brown, orange, and yellow, and the line side of my disconnect dry fitted. So what I like to do now is I'll take them out one at a time like this, and I'll coat them in no locks. So I'll go ahead and coat one, come back and show you. This is what it'll look like after you have coated it properly, and you'll just take it and set it right in. Take your flathead, tighten it up. Alright, I'm gonna do the other two, and we'll get on to something else. Alright, once you've got line side connected with no locks on it, if it is aluminum, you want to put your safety shield back in. It just clips in. These little, see if I can focus on it. There's these little clips right in here. It just holds it in, so. There we go. And that is line side. This is super out of focus. There we go. Alright, so next, load side. Our load side will be copper to these units. So let me go get my copper wire. Okay, so you know, our material is on the other side of this building back there where you see that fella walking. I don't know how far it is. It's way over there. So I had to go get some if you tape the tip of your wires, it makes fishing through your seal tight a lot easier. So what we're going to do is, now that we're on the load side, we're going to take our reducing washers, which I've got here. What they do is they reduce, this hole is 1.5 inches, and I need it to be 1.25 inches. So the inside diameter of this is 1.25 inches. The outside diameter is 1.5 inches or 2 inches. I haven't looked at it yet. 2 inches. So it'll cover the outside and keep our pipe from falling through. So let me install them real quick in case I confused anybody on exactly what I was talking about. The ring fits over this hole, and then you take the other one on the bottom half, and then you put your connector through it, and then it no longer falls through. So I'm gonna try this with one hand. Go ahead and put it on here. And then we tighten this ring. Okay, the ring is tight. So as you can see here, our connector will not come out. All right. So we're gonna connect another Siltite end. There's a little too much sticking out here, so I'm going to trim that back a little bit. That'll just help with everything else seating properly. So, like I said before, threaded end goes on first. So you can put this on. This will sit on flush. Once you have it on, you will thread in your connector. You can use channel locks to tighten these, but I've found that if you get a pair of lineman pliers and pinch right here, they will twist and tight just fine. So that's one less tool you have to bring up for this stage. Of course, you'll need one to tighten the rings, so gotta keep that in mind as well. Alright, this part, I don't think I've shown you yet. So when you insert these in here, it'll seat just like this. It's hard to watch both. Then you'll take the ring all the way up and tighten it. So this takes two hands though, so I'm gonna go for a minute. Okay. Let this refocus for me. Alright, once you got that connected, you want to size the other end to your disconnect, leaving enough room to strap here to meet code. So we'll exit the unit, leave a little loop here, and just like that. So what I'll do is I'll get it right the way I like it, and I'll set my thumb where I want to cut, and then I'll take my knife and I'll cut it here. Michelle, I'll do this one more time in case they're all coming in late to this video. A bandsaw is my preferred method. However, sometimes when you're on a roof, you want to carry a few amount of tools as possible, especially big ones like a bandsaw, and just focus on bare minimum, because one, it's hot, it's getting hotter every single second, and two, bandsaw isn't the lightest tool, and it's not absolutely necessary. So once you cut it, pop it. Once you pop it, get your knives, snip it. Some of y'all probably already know that, so pay attention. On this one, the metal sticks up a little higher, and that's typical sometimes. So you just cut an extra ring off, and it'll thread out. And then you cut the tip so you don't cut yourself on it. Now she is ready for the other end. Red ring. The red ones are always harder than the yellow ones, so bear with me. Got it on. It would connect here on the bottom side of this. Let's see if I can figure it out. Get my ugly mug out of this video. And I'll tighten that with channel locks here in a little while. So with the taped end of the wire that I showed you earlier, I'm going to come back to the unit and I'm going to push this down with the Siltite. This part is always harder, especially one-handed. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna push this all the way in after fighting with it for probably 15 minutes. And it's gonna come out over here, and I'll show you what to do after we get that in. Okay, the wire is in. I went ahead and hooked up the ground to the ground lug back here. It's really hard to miss those. They're usually green, always bolted to the end, and you can always identify them with other grounds attached to the same thing. So pretty simple. It's got a ground symbol there. That's where it goes. It's hooked up. Like I said in the beginning of the video, L1 is A phase, L2 is B phase, and L3 is C phase, or first, second, and third phase. These colors don't matter. This is what the HVAC manufacturer uses. So what matters to us is that we do A, B, and C phase on this lug here. That's line power. And you can usually verify that on the one line diagrams written on these panels, but I'm not gonna bore y'all with that. It's another day, but it'll clearly tell you right there. L1, L2 and ground, and L3. So anyway, let's get these attached. And like I said, these are copper, and we want them to be in brown, orange, yellow sequence like this. And copper is a little harder to bend in here, so I'm not going to record my struggle. If you're experienced, then you understand it. So I'll insert these, tighten them up, and then I'll show you all the after. But these are copper, so they do not need no locks. This will just be stripped and shoved right in. Okay. Brown, orange, yellow, 1, 2, 3, ABC, high voltage. There you go. We are terminated, ready to juice. Close that. It's got some magnets in here that hold that kind of tight. However, we're gonna take this 5/16. Shout out to DeWalt. That's all I use. Some of my people watching are probably Milwaukee fans, and I'll be the first to say there's nothing wrong with Milwaukee. They're awesome too. However, I'm committed to DeWalt. So we'll attach this little fastener screw that kind of keeps this secure a little better. And then this door, it'll slide in and it'll get 2, 4, 5 screws, which are located right here. So let me get this door on real quick. All right, door's on. Now it's time for the load side of our disconnect here. And what I'll do is, since I've already finished the line side and the pitch pocket, I'm gonna go ahead and put this on. Just know that I'll put the screws to hold that down at the end of the video. Y'all don't need to know how to do that. It's pretty simple. Hydration. One of my favorite drinks in the entire world. Berry lemonade. Okay, so first thing we're going to do is take our ground. It's copper, by the way. Size it. It's going to go to the top half of my ground lug. And once I cut it, I'll flathead tighten the screw here. No locks because it's copper. Then I'm going to take brown. I'm going to dry fit it. Then I'll take orange, dry fit it into the second phase, and then yellow to my third phase. Okay? I'm going to do that real quick, and then I'll be right back. Okay, there she is. We're grounded. Our A, B, and C phase is terminated. Tightened. Safety clip is in place. No locks is installed onto the aluminum line side of my 3 conductors. And she is ready. We'll keep her off until we verify voltage after we turn on the breakers downstairs after our transformer is set. These will get strut straps on them to secure them in legal strapping codes. This is our GFI for later. Gotta have one within 25 feet of the unit here. Other than that, now you know something that you probably didn't, and that's a little bit of insight of what I do in Lee Company sometimes. It's kind of different every day. Now, I get to do that 37 more times. See y'all later.